Hey, good morning, everybody. Today's lesson is going to talk about three formats of our equations: the standard form, the zero form, and then the vertex form. And there's different times you want to be able to use different equations. As well as we're going to try and link some previous skills from quadratic equations to what we're doing today as well. So we're going to do three examples. Example number one is x squared plus 4x minus 5, and we want to find these 6 properties for it. So again, to find a discriminant, we're talking about working with b squared minus 4ac. So in our first equation, it's 1x squared, it's plus 4x, and that's minus 5. So our a is 1, b is 4, and c is negative 5. When I put that information into the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, I get an answer of 36. So that discriminant tells me I have 2 real distinct roots, and actually better than that, because 36 is a perfect square, that tells me that I can actually factor my equation to find its roots. So that's what we're going to do for part B. We're going to make it equal 0, make our expression equal 0. So we're going to find the 0 of x squared plus 4x minus 5. We said it's factorable. So we can do some work. Again, a variety of ways to know that the roots are going to be x plus 5 and x minus 1, or the factors are x plus 5, x minus 1. Each of these gets to equal 0. So again, don't cheat. Show the work on the easy questions, so later on with the questions, if they become more challenging, you can do the exact same thing. So B is finding the zeros. Question C is about finding a y-intercept. So we'll just we'll press pause here for a second and come back to showing you that. For part C, to find the y-intercept, that's when the x value is 0. So again, take your function y equals x squared plus 4x minus 5, put 0 in for the x's, and the answer here will always be your c value. It's always your constant term, so you can show the work. Oh, how about a mistake? Y doesn't equal 5, y is going to equal negative 5. So that's the answer to C then, finding the y-intercept. Again, we'll push pause, we'll do some work on our question D. For C, we want to find our vertex, so we want to change from x squared plus 4x minus 5 into the format a times x minus h squared plus k. So the skills we're going to use are completing the square skills. Some of the work we want to show, again, we want to show taking half of the b value. So half of 4 is 2. I want us to show the fact that we have 2 factors that are x plus 2 and x plus 2. So when I go to put that information back into my equation, a little bit too far, we have y equals x squared plus 4x plus 4. And that's because when you multiply 2 times 2, you get the plus 4. In the original question, we had a minus 5. And because we want to make sure that we're going to only add 0 to our equation, if I add 4, I have to minus 4. But again, that's about adding 0. Adding 0 doesn't change the expression. Multiplying by 1 doesn't change the expression. So that's important for us to remember that skill. And now I have y equals, and this was x plus 2 squared. And again, that goes back to the fact you have x plus 2 times x plus 2. So that's the square, x plus 2 squared. And simplifying the minus 5 and minus 4. When I look at my answer, my a value is 1, my h is negative 2, and my k is negative 9. So now I know my vertex is negative 2 and negative 9. E is about finding the range of our function. I have a vertex at negative 2, negative 9. My a value in the previous step, my a value was 1. So that tells me my graph is going to open up. So without doing a whole lot of work, I'm just going to show my graph is opening up. And then from there, I can talk about the range, because now all my y values have negative 9 and they go up to infinity. So my range, all my y values The minimum is -9, the maximum is infinity. That's a nice answer, but the best answer is to say my range is a set of numbers where my y values are greater than and equal to -9. -9 is the smallest, and everything above that is part of the range. To do the last part, step F, we want to find the symmetry. It goes back to identifying the fact that we have our vertex at -2 and -9. We can look at our sketch. And again, part of our information for symmetry is to know that it's the line that cuts the parabola, cuts this quadratic function in half. So we have the left side of -2 and the right side of -2. So we can say that our equation is x plus 2 equals 0, or the equation, the format we're looking for is saying that x equals -2. That's the vertical line that cuts our parabola in half. You've got the left side of -2 and the right side of -2. So we just spent over 6 minutes kind of going through 6 different properties. Again, important things when we're talking about quadratics, knowing what the discriminant tells you. Positive discriminant tells you have 2 real distinct roots. If your discriminant is 0, you only have 1 real root. Finding y-intercepts, so you get to use the algebra skills of putting x equals 0 in. Finding the vertex is about changing forms of the equation. Finding the range and the axis of symmetry is about being able to do a quick sketch of your information, and then from that sketch you can figure out whether you have a maximum value or a minimum value, and you can figure out the fold line. Okay, so that's the last one we're going to do in video. The questions 2 and 3, I'll just do them in text, but you can check those as well. And then we'll do videos for the other problem sheets as well.